My name is Hephzibah Pierce, but everyone called me Zibby because the full name sounded like a warning label. I was 34 and I worked as a client support lead at a logistics company. My job was to fix problems fast, sound calm, and make people feel safe even when a package was lost. I was good at that. I also used the same skill at home. That morning, our kitchen looked normal. The counters were clean. The cereal boxes were lined up. The light above the sink buzzed in a soft way. Ethan stood by the coffee maker, like he was waiting for it to give him permission to speak. Our daughter Maya sat at the table with her small socks half on, kicking her feet and watching us through her lashes. I had already decided what I wanted. I wanted to cross the border for one night. I told myself it was simple. My ex, Gavin, had just finished his divorce process. He had been sending messages that sounded tired and lonely. I told myself that I was only being kind. I told myself that kindness was not cheating. I also told myself that Ethan had made me do it by being so serious all the time. Ethan asked where I was going after work. I said I had to handle something personal for a friend. He asked who the friend was. I said it was not a big deal, and he was making it one. He asked why I needed to travel. I said I needed space, and he did not own my schedule. He asked how long I would be gone. I said I would be back soon, and he should not act like my manager. He did not raise his voice. That was his worst habit, in my opinion. When a man stayed calm, it made other people look unstable. I hated that feeling, so I pushed the story early. I told him he always saw danger where there was none. I said he did not understand friendship. I said he was jealous because he had no friends outside work. I said he was cold and did not know how to comfort anyone. I watched his face while I said it. I wanted him to flinch so I could say he was dramatic. He did not flinch. Maya asked why Dad looked sad. I said Dad was tired and work was stressful. Ethan looked at Maya and nodded like that was fine. I noticed he placed his mug on the far side of the counter, away from mine, like it mattered. It annoyed me more than it should have. I checked my phone under the table. Gavin had messaged again. He said the house felt empty and he could not sleep. He said he did not know who he was without his marriage. I read it twice and felt important. I told myself Ethan never needed me like that. I told myself I deserved to be needed. Ethan's phone lit up on the counter. A reminder flashed for a second. It said, meeting, personal, and it had a time around mid-morning. He turned the screen face down before I could look longer. That small movement made me curious. It also made me angry because it felt like he was hiding something. I believed hiding was only allowed when I did it. I asked what the meeting was. He said it was just a personal thing. I asked why he was being secretive. He said he was not, and he just did not want to talk about it right then. I told him that sounded like avoidance. He looked at me and asked if I was really going to travel for Gavin. I said I was traveling for myself, and Gavin was just someone who needed support. In my head, I edited the moment. I told myself Ethan was trying to control me. I told myself he was acting like a border guard in my own home. I told myself I was strong for not letting him stop me. In the same breath, I told myself he should have fought harder, because deep down, I wanted proof that I mattered. It was a messy need. I lived on messy needs. I packed my bag after breakfast, while Ethan took Maya to the bathroom to help her with toothpaste. I chose a small bag so it looked harmless. I put in 2 outfits, a charger and a jacket. I kept it light because light looked innocent. On the landing near Ethan's home office, I saw his desk. A stack of papers sat in neat piles with labels like household and utilities. He liked labels. He liked order. It was one reason I said he was rigid. I called it rigid like it was a crime. I heard a soft click from the desk drawer. Ethan opened it, then closed it again. He pulled out a folder that looked like it belonged to taxes. He tucked something small under it. I only caught the edge of it, like a pale plastic corner. It looked like a USB drive with a date written in marker. He did it without looking at me, like he did not care if I saw. I pretended I did not notice. I pretended because pretending gave me power. If I asked, he could answer calmly, and then I would feel small. I did not want that. I wanted him to be the one who looked guilty. When we got to the driveway, Ethan put Maya in the car seat for school drop-off. He checked the straps twice, careful, like always. I thought of how careful he was with everything except me. That was my story anyway. He asked what time I would return. I said late, because I had work tasks. He asked if I could do the trip another day. I said no, because this was important. He asked why it was important. I said because I was a good person, and he was trying to make me feel bad for that. He nodded once, like he had heard me. Then he did something that bothered me more than arguing. He stepped back and said he hoped I stayed safe. It sounded polite. It sounded final. I wanted him to beg me to stay. I wanted to reject him. I wanted to feel in control. Instead, I felt like I was walking away from a door that might lock behind me. At work, I already planned what I would tell people. I planned to say Ethan did not like me traveling. I planned to say he questioned me all the time. I planned to act tired so they would think I was a victim. Victim looked good on camera. Victim got support. I knew that. Before I drove off, my phone buzzed again. I saw Gavin's name. The preview said he needed me tonight and he could not do this alone. My hands felt warm around the screen. I deleted the notification and told myself it was not a lie, because Ethan did not need to see it. I told myself that hiding a message was not cheating, it was privacy. Ethan watched my car like he was memorizing the shape of it. He did not wave. He just stood there with his keys in his hand, calm and still. I drove away anyway. In the mirror, his figure got smaller, and I told myself that meant I was finally free. But my stomach felt tight, like my body did not believe my words. At the office, the lights felt too white. The air smelled like coffee and printer paper. I walked in like nothing was wrong, because that was my talent. I could carry a secret like a laptop bag. I could smile while my chest felt tight. Marisol saw me first. She asked why I looked dressed up for a normal day. I said I had a client call and I wanted to look sharp. She asked if Ethan was still being weird about my plans. I said he had been on my case all week. I did not say the truth, because the truth would make me look careless. My manager, Noah, waved me over near the team board. He asked if I was still taking a day off soon. I said I was, but it was for family stuff. He asked what day. I said I would send it later. He looked at my calendar on the shared screen and pointed to a gap. He asked why I had blocked time for late afternoon. I said I had to handle a private appointment. He nodded, but his eyes stayed on me a second too long. I opened my computer and tried to focus on tickets. Customers were asking about deliveries and missing pallets. I answered in short lines. I said I was sorry. I said I would fix it. I said I understood. It was easier than my real life, because in work, problems had numbers. My phone buzzed once. It was Ethan. He called, not texted. I watched it ring and did not answer. I told myself I could not answer because I was busy. I also told myself that answering would make him think he could reach me any time. Marisol leaned over my cubicle wall like she owned it. She asked who was calling. I said it was Ethan. She rolled her eyes and asked if he was tracking me. I said he was acting insecure. She asked if he had a reason. I said no, and I said he just liked to test me. She made a face like she felt sorry for me, and I liked that. When Ethan called again, I sent a text instead. I told him I was working and could not talk. He replied fast and asked where I would be later. I told him I would be out for errands. He asked what errands. I told him he was doing it again. I read my own message and felt proud. I felt like I had set a boundary. I did not admit that I was also building a wall because I planned to walk through it. Near mid-morning, Noah asked me to step into a small meeting room. It was one of those glass rooms with a table and 2 chairs. He asked if everything was okay at home. I said yes, But my husband was being difficult lately. He asked if I was safe. I said yes, and I said Ethan was not dangerous, just controlling. I watched Noah's face when I said controlling. The word landed like a stone. It always did. Noah asked if my personal issues would affect my schedule. I said no, and I said I was a professional. He asked if I needed time off. I said I had it handled. He reminded me to update PTO properly. I said I would. I said it with a smile, like I was the one doing him a favor. Back at my desk, I opened the PTO page. I hovered over the date. My finger felt heavy. If I requested it now, it would be real. If I did not request it, I could still pretend it was just a thought. Then Gavin's name popped up again, like he could smell my doubt. Gavin sent a long message. He said his place felt empty. He said he heard his ex-wife's voice in the walls. He said he felt stupid for believing in love. He asked if I could still come. He said he would meet me near the terminal parking garage across the border because it was easier. I stared at the message until the words blurred. I told myself this was not romance. I told myself it was mercy. I told myself Ethan never talked about feelings, so why should I deny someone who did? Marisol asked if I wanted lunch with the group. I said yes right away because lunch meant an audience. It meant I could shape the story while it was still soft. At lunch, the table was loud. People talked about weekend plans and a new manager rumor. I waited until someone asked about my trip. I did not bring it up directly. I liked to look reluctant, like I was forced to share. A coworker asked if I was going anywhere fun soon. I said I might take a quick day to reset. Another coworker asked if Ethan was fine with it. I said he did not love it, because he got weird when I did things alone. Marisol added that some husbands like to keep women small. I let her say it. I did not correct her. It helped me. Someone asked if Ethan ever came to work events. I said he did not like crowds and he judged my friends. I said he acted like he was better than everyone. That was not even true. Ethan was quiet, not rude. But quiet was easy to paint as cold. They all nodded like they understood. Their faces gave me permission. I felt my spine straighten. I felt like I had allies. After lunch, Marisol asked if I wanted to post something about taking control of my life. I said maybe, and I pretended to hesitate. Then I agreed, because I wanted Ethan to see it. I wanted him to feel behind. We took a quick photo in the office kitchen, just coffee cups and a smile. I posted it with a caption about choosing peace. It was vague on purpose. Vague posts were like smoke. They made people guess, and guessing was power. My phone showed suggested viewers and comments. Ethan's name appeared in that list in a way that made my skin prickle. I told myself he was stalking my profile. I did not admit that I had basically left breadcrumbs on purpose. Later, in the afternoon, Noah messaged me about my PTO. He asked for clarity on the reason. He said HR needed accurate notes for time-off categories. I felt annoyed, like he was invading my life. I told myself they were all too strict. Then I remembered I worked in logistics. Strict was the whole job. I replied that it was personal and related to family. He replied that HR would still need a short reason, and he asked me to come by next week for a quick check-in with them. He wrote it like it was normal. But I felt heat in my cheeks. I told Marisol that HR was being nosy. She asked if Ethan had contacted my workplace. I said no, but I made a face like it was possible. I hated that she looked excited. I also liked it. That evening, when work finally slowed, I stared at my calendar. I blocked off a few hours and labeled it errands. I submitted a partial PTO request and told myself it was fine. I told myself I would clean it up later. Ethan texted again and asked what time I would pick up Maya tomorrow. I waited before answering to make him feel uncertain. Then I said I would handle it, and I told him not to worry. He replied with a short okay. His short answer made my stomach drop. I wanted him to argue. I wanted him to chase the truth out of me. Instead, He sounded like a man who was taking notes in his head. I pushed my chair back and grabbed my bag. I told myself I was still the good one in this story. I told myself Ethan was making me do this by being calm. I told myself I was only crossing a border, not crossing a line. The next day felt like a clean page to me. That was what I told myself. I woke up early, moved quiet through the house, and acted like I was doing something brave. Ethan was already up. He stood in the hallway with Maya's small backpack in his hand, like he was the one holding the day together. He asked if I was still going. I said yes. He asked if I could wait until the weekend. I said no, because Gavin needed me now, and Ethan did not get to decide my kindness. He asked if I understood how it looked. I said he was making it look bad with his attitude. Maya asked if I would be home for her story time. I said I would try. I said it like a promise, but I did not plan around it. I told myself Ethan would cover it because he always did. Ethan looked at me and asked me to please be clear about timing for Maya. I said he was using Maya to control me. His jaw tightened for a second, then he let it go. I drove toward the border, with music playing low. I kept checking my phone at red lights. Gavin sent one message, then another. He said he was sorry for being needy. He said he did not have anyone else. He said he felt like he was drowning. Each line made me feel bigger, like I was the rope. Ethan texted once. He asked what route I was taking and when I expected to return. I stared at the message and felt annoyed, like he was asking for a report. I replied that I was fine and would be back late. He asked for the address where I would stay. I told him it was not his business and he needed to calm down. I knew it was not fair. I knew a spouse asking where you sleep is normal, but I needed him to be wrong, because if he was normal, then I was the problem. At the border crossing, the cars moved like slow beads on a string. The line crawled. I watched other faces through windshields. Most people looked bored. I felt like I was doing something secret and special, even though it was just traffic. When I reached the booth, the agent asked where I was going. I said I was visiting for a short trip. The agent asked the purpose. I said tourism and checking on a friend. The agent asked how long. I said one night. The agent asked where I would stay. I paused, then said I had not decided yet. The agent looked at me longer than I liked. I smiled too hard. The agent handed my documents back and waved me through. As soon as I passed, I breathed out like I had escaped something. I told myself the border did not know my story. I told myself that meant it was not real. But my hand shook a little on the steering wheel. I went to the bus terminal area because Gavin said it was easy for parking. The lot was half full. There were cameras on poles and signs about towing. I noticed them, then pushed the thought away. I told myself I did not care about cameras because I was doing nothing wrong. Gavin arrived 10 minutes later. He parked 2 spaces away, then walked fast to my car. He looked tired, but he also looked pleased. He leaned on my window and asked if I really came. I said yes and told him he should be grateful. He asked if Ethan knew. I said Ethan was acting dramatic and he would twist anything. Gavin nodded like that made sense. We talked in the parking lot first, standing near my trunk like we were strangers. He told me his divorce felt like a public failure. He said his friends stopped calling. He said his ex-wife had already moved on, and it made him feel replaced. He asked if I ever missed him. I said I missed the way things used to be, because that sounded safe. I did not say I missed being wanted, but that was the truth. He asked if I could come somewhere quieter. I said yes. I said it fast. I told myself I was only helping him talk. We drove to a riverside promenade not far from there. The water was grey and wide. People walked dogs. Couples took photos. It looked like a postcard place. I liked that because it made my choice feel pretty. Gavin bought coffee at a small stand. He asked what I wanted. I said anything. He smiled like he was proud to provide something. That smile made my chest warm. I told myself Ethan never smiled like that anymore. I did not admit that I had trained Ethan not to smile by judging him for it. We sat on a bench. Gavin talked and talked. He said he did not know how to be alone. He said he felt like a ghost in his own apartment. He asked if I thought he was a good man. I said he was not perfect, but he was not evil. He asked if Ethan treated me well. I said Ethan did, but he was distant. I chose the word distant because it sounded serious but not like a lie. Gavin asked if Ethan ever made me feel small. I said yes. That was not fully true either. Ethan made me feel small only when he stayed calm, but I knew people understood that phrase, so I used it. My phone buzzed. Ethan called again. I watched it ring while Gavin watched my face. I declined the call. Gavin asked why I did not answer. I said Ethan would turn it into a fight and I did not want drama. Gavin said he understood and touched my arm in a gentle way. I let him, because I liked being chosen. Marisol messaged me with a laughing emoji and asked if I was living my best life. I sent back a photo of the river, not Gavin. I wrote that I was getting fresh air and clearing my head. Marisol replied that Ethan could not complain about fresh air. I felt supported. Later, I needed a place to rest, or at least that is what I told myself. Gavin suggested a budget motel because he said he did not want to sit in his empty apartment. I said, okay. I said it like I was being practical. I told myself we would just talk more. At the motel lobby, the clerk asked for ID and a card. I handed over the card I always used. It was the joint card. My brain noticed it, then pretended it did not. The clerk printed a receipt and slid it over. I saw the total. It made my stomach twist, not from guilt, but from fear of being caught. Gavin asked if everything was fine. I said yes and told him it was nothing. I said Ethan would not even notice. That was another lie. Ethan noticed details. Ethan noticed everything when he stopped trusting. In the room, we kept our shoes on at first. We sat on top of the covers and talked. Gavin asked why I stayed with Ethan if I was unhappy. I said because families are complicated and Ethan needed me. I said it like I was kind, but it was also a way to avoid looking selfish. Gavin asked if I wanted a different life. I said I wanted respect. I said respect followed results, and I had results. Gavin nodded like I was wise. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a missed call with no caller ID. I stared at it. My mouth went dry. I told myself it was spam, but the timing felt wrong. It felt like someone was watching a clock. I opened my messages to Ethan. I considered writing something soft, something normal. Then I imagined him asking questions, and I felt angry again. I sent a short text saying I was fine and busy. He replied with one word, okay. That single word did not feel like peace. It felt like a door closing. I stared at it longer than I should have, while Gavin talked about how lonely he felt. I nodded at Gavin, but my mind kept seeing Ethan's calm face in the driveway, like he was already planning something I could not talk my way out of. I came home the next morning with a stiff smile and a light bag, like the night before did not count. I told myself that if I walked into my house like I belonged there, then nothing had changed. The air inside felt different anyway. It smelled like cleaner and cold coffee. The living room was too tidy, like someone had put feelings away in a drawer. Ethan was in the kitchen with Maya. He was cutting fruit into small squares. Maya ate quietly. She did not run to me like she usually did. That hurt my pride, so I blamed Ethan for it in my head. Ethan asked if I was back for good. I said yes, and told him not to act like I vanished. He asked where I stayed. I said I drove around and rested, and he was being intense. He asked why a motel charge hit our joint card. I said he must have misread it and he should stop checking the account like a police officer. He did not argue. He only said he would like clear answers because it affected the family. Maya asked if we were still going to Grandma Tess's dinner that night. I said yes, and I said it would be nice for everyone to see us together. Ethan looked at Maya and said dinner was fine. He asked me, in a low voice, to keep it calm for Maya. I said he was the one who made it tense. All day, I felt watched, even when Ethan said little. I hated that. I wanted noise, because noise could distract. Quiet left space for truth. Before dinner, I went upstairs to change. On the landing, I saw Ethan's office door half open. I did not mean to look, but I looked anyway. His desk had neat piles again, and now there was a thin folder with a plain label that said bank. It sat beside a stack that said household. I told myself he was being dramatic. I told myself he was building a case like I was a criminal. Then I remembered the motel receipt and felt a small flash of fear. When we arrived at my mother's house, the driveway was full. My sister Danny's car was there, and 2 of my cousins, and a neighbor's truck. The house smelled like garlic and roasted meat. People talked loud as soon as we walked in. I saw eyes turn to Ethan first, then to me, like they expected a show. Danny hugged me tight and asked if I was okay. I said yes, and I said Ethan had been acting strange lately. She looked past me at Ethan and made a face like he was the reason for all my stress. Ethan said hello to everyone and kept his hands to himself. He did not pull me close. That made people notice. At the long dining table, my mom put Ethan at the end, like a seat for a quiet guest. I took the middle seat, near Danny and my cousins, because I wanted the center. I wanted control of the mood. Someone asked how my week was. I said I had been trying to get space, but Ethan worried too much. Someone laughed and said some men could not handle independent women. Danny added that I had always been strong, and Ethan should not clip my wings. I let them talk. I watched Ethan's face while they did it. Ethan asked if we could keep the talk respectful. I said he was proving my point by policing the conversation. My mom asked why Ethan was so sensitive. I said he took everything like an attack. I said it while smiling, so it sounded light. That was my trick. I could cut people with a soft voice. A cousin asked where I went the day before. I said I did a reset trip and visited a friend who was having a hard time. Danny asked if it was Gavin. I hesitated just a second, then said yes, because it sounded honest and brave. My mom nodded like that was sweet of me. She said I had a kind heart. I liked hearing that. Ethan's mother Karen arrived late with a small dessert. She kissed Maya's head and greeted Ethan first. She did not hug me. She asked if the dinner was going well. I said yes, and I said Ethan had been tense. Karen looked at me like she did not believe my simple words. During dinner, Danny raised a glass and said we should toast to women choosing themselves. She said I deserved happiness and freedom. People laughed and clinked glasses. I glanced at Ethan to see if he would react. He did not raise his glass. He did not glare. He just watched Maya take a bite of bread, like Maya was the only thing on the table. That calm made my skin itch. I needed him to look like the villain, not a quiet dad. After the main course, I pulled out my phone and opened my social app. I posted a photo of the table, but I cropped Ethan out. I wrote a caption about choosing peace and setting boundaries. Within minutes, comments started. Friends wrote things like, "Protect your energy," and "Men hate strong women." I liked the words because they felt like armor. Ethan saw my phone and asked what I posted. I said it was nothing, and I said he should stop monitoring me. He asked if I could avoid posting family events right now. I said he was ashamed of how he treated me, and that was why he wanted silence. He did not answer that. He simply stood up and took Maya to wash her hands. In the hallway, I heard Karen speak to Ethan in a low voice. She asked if he was okay. He said he would handle things properly. She asked if he needed help with Maya. He said yes, but he wanted it calm and simple. I leaned closer to listen, then stepped back when I heard my mum call my name. Later, when we left, Ethan carried Maya to the car because she fell asleep. He buckled her in without waking her. He did not touch my arm. He did not ask me to talk. That felt like punishment, so I turned it into proof that he was cold. On the way home, I insisted we stop at the supermarket. I said we needed groceries, like a normal family would. Ethan agreed without debate. That was the worst part. He acted like I was a coworker he did not want to argue with. At checkout, I used the joint card again. The screen showed the balance after the purchase. I saw a new notification pop up on my phone from the bank app, and I felt my throat tighten. I told myself it was normal. I told myself Ethan had no right to act like my choices were dangerous. Still, my fingers felt clumsy around the receipt. When we got home, the garage light was on. I heard a low, steady sound, like a machine working. I stepped closer and realized it was the shredder. Ethan stood near his workbench, feeding paper into it, one sheet at a time. He did not look at me. He did not rush. He did it like a routine. I asked what he was shredding. He said old mail and duplicates. I asked why he was doing it at night. He said he wanted to clean up. He asked if I needed anything else before bed. I said no, because I did not want to admit I was scared. Upstairs, Ethan did not follow me into our room. He took a pillow and went to the guest bed. I heard the mattress shift in the other room, then silence. I lay in the dark and told myself he was being dramatic. I told myself he was trying to scare me into confessing. I told myself I had done nothing that bad. But my mind kept replaying the shredder sound, steady and calm, like someone closing doors in a clean way. The next week did not feel like a week. It felt like a long hallway with doors closing one by one. Ethan stayed polite, but he stopped acting like my partner. He acted like a careful coworker who had to share a project with someone he did not trust. On Monday morning, he left a note on the counter about Maya's school lunch. It was short. It listed what she liked and what she could not eat. He did not write my name. He wrote Maya, like the house belonged to her now, not to us. I asked if he was really doing notes like I was a babysitter. He said it was for clarity. I told him he was being cold. He said he was being consistent. I said consistency was a fancy word for punishment. He did not answer that. He poured cereal for Maya and asked her if she wanted strawberries. Maya asked if we could all go to the park after school like before. I said yes right away, because I wanted to look like the fun parent. Ethan said we could, but he wanted to confirm times. He asked what time I could be there. I said he was acting like he needed my permission to breathe. He said he just wanted a plan for Maya. At work, I told Marisol that Ethan had turned into a robot. I said he was doing silent treatment to control me. Marisol asked if I was sure. I said yes, and I said men always did this when they lost power. I said it loud enough for 2 other co-workers to hear. I liked the way their faces changed. I liked the attention more than I liked the truth. Noah called me into his office again. He asked if I had updated my PTO details. I said yes, but the system was slow. He asked if everything was stable at home. I said no, and I said Ethan was making it hard. He asked what that meant. I said Ethan tracked my spending and asked too many questions. Noah told me to keep personal issues out of the workplace and to be honest on records. I said I was honest. I said it with my best calm voice, the one I used with angry clients. That afternoon, Ethan texted about Maya's pickup. He wrote the time and the exact spot in the line. He wrote it like an instruction. I arrived 10 minutes late on purpose because I wanted to prove I could. When I pulled in, he was already there. He stood beside his car with Maya's backpack on his shoulder, calm like a post. He asked if I saw his message. I said yes, and I said traffic was awful. He asked if I could tell him sooner next time. I said he was acting like a boss. He said he was acting like a parent. He asked if Maya could go with him today because I was late. I said he was stealing my time with her. Maya looked between us, then asked if we could all go to the park. Ethan said yes. I said yes too. I smiled at Maya like I was the safe one. At the park, the air was sharp and clean. Maya ran to the swings. Ethan stood near the bench with his hands in his pockets. He watched her like he had only one job in the world. I tried to make small talk, but my small talk was always a test. I asked if he was still mad. He said he was not mad, he was disappointed. I asked if he planned to punish me forever. He said he planned to protect Maya's routine. I said I was Maya's routine too. He said yes, but routines needed trust. I told him he was overreacting. I said I only helped a friend. He asked why the border record showed an overnight trip. I felt my stomach twist. I did not ask how he knew. I acted like he had guessed. I said he must have looked it up like a stalker. He said it was a public record tied to my ID and the date. He asked why I thought he would not notice. I said he was obsessed with control. He said he was obsessed with facts. He asked if I could just answer plainly where I stayed. I said I stayed, where I stayed, and that should be enough. Maya ran back and asked for water. Ethan handed her a bottle. He asked her if she wanted to go down the slide. She nodded and ran off again. Ethan waited until she was a few steps away before he spoke again. He asked if I understood how my choices could affect schedules, money, and trust. I said he was using big words to sound smart. He said he did not care about sounding smart. He said he cared about stability. I tried another angle. I said he had not been affectionate in months, and that was why I felt alone. He asked if I was really blaming him for my decisions. I said I was explaining the context. He said context did not change actions. I wanted to laugh at him, but my throat felt tight. On the way home, Maya fell asleep in the back seat. Ethan drove in front of me and used his blinker like he always did. Even his driving felt lawful, like he was trying to show the world he was normal. It made me angry because normal is hard to attack. At home, I went upstairs and passed his office again. The door was closed this time. I heard a soft beep, like an app starting and stopping. I paused, then told myself it was nothing. I told myself he was probably watching a video. Still, the sound followed me in my mind. Later, I needed a charger from the drawer in our bedroom. Ethan had always kept the spare chargers there. When I pulled the drawer, it stuck. I tugged harder. It did not open. I heard a click, like a lock. My face went hot. I asked if he locked the bedroom drawer. He said yes. I asked why. He said it was his personal space now. I told him that was petty. He said it was boundary. I said boundaries were what people used when they stopped loving someone. He did not deny it. He just nodded once like he accepted the label. On the landing, I noticed a sticky note on his desk through the cracked door. It said, "Bring forms." Under it, I saw a neat stack of plain envelopes and a clean notebook. No letterhead, no names, nothing official that I could grab and wave around. That made it worse. I could not make it a villain object. That night, his phone alarm went off in the kitchen. It said, "Paper drop 8:15 p.m. He turned it off without looking at me. I asked what paper drop meant. He said it was a reminder. I asked for what. He said it was personal. I watched him put his keys on the counter, then move them to his pocket again. I noticed a new key on the ring, shiny and unused. I asked what the new key was for. He said it was for something he needed. I said he was being secretive. He said I had taught him to be careful. I tried to pull Maya into it, which was low, but I did it anyway. I asked Maya if she missed when Daddy and Mommy laughed more. Maya looked at me like she did not want to answer. Ethan asked me not to put Maya in the middle. I said I was not, and I said he was the one who made everything tense. Ethan told me, very calmly, that he would not argue in front of Maya anymore. In the guest room, I heard him shift the bed again. The bed sounded more used now, like it was becoming his real place. I lay awake and told myself he was bluffing. I told myself he would cool down and come back if I stayed strong. But in the morning, he did not soften. He did not ask for reassurance. He did not chase the version of me I sold to others. On Friday, in the kitchen, he looked at me the way you look at a task you must finish. He asked if I wanted to keep pretending or if I wanted to be honest. I said he was threatening me. He said he was offering me a chance to stop making it worse. Then he said, in the same calm voice he used when he explained schedules and homework, that he would handle it properly. I thought I could fix it with tone. I thought if I sounded calm, people would believe me. That morning at work, I wore my best blazer and smiled at everyone like I had slept well. My stomach still felt tight, but I told myself it was only stress. Noah asked if I could step into the lobby area because HR wanted a quick check-in. I said yes and acted annoyed, like I was the one being bothered. In my head, I blamed Ethan for this too. I told myself he had put my life under a microscope. In the office tower lobby, the floor shined like a mirror. People walked past with coffee and badges. I saw Marisol near the elevators. She lifted her brows at me like she expected gossip. I gave her a small shrug, like I was above it. An older man in a plain jacket stepped toward me. He asked if I was Hephzibah Pierce. I said yes, because why would I lie about my name in my own building? He asked me to confirm my address. I hesitated, then said it. He held out a thick envelope. I asked what it was. He said he was serving legal papers. He said it in a flat, professional way, like he was reading a weather report. My face went hot. I looked around and saw 2 co-workers slow down, pretending they were not listening. I asked if he had the wrong person. He said no. He said my name again, clear and careful. He said I could take the envelope, or he could note that I refused. I took it, because refusing would look guilty. My hands shook when I held it, and I hated that people could see. Noah appeared beside me. He asked if everything was okay. I said it was a misunderstanding. I said my husband was being dramatic. I said it loud enough for Marisol to hear. Marisol's eyes widened, like she had just been handed free entertainment. I opened the envelope with my thumb. The first page had my name in bold. I saw the words about a marriage, about filing, about orders. My vision narrowed like I was staring through a tunnel. I told myself it was only a scare tactic. I told myself Ethan would not really do it. Then I saw the dates, the lists, the calm language. It did not read like anger. It read like planning. HR stepped closer and asked if I needed a private room. I said no, because I did not want to look weak. I walked toward a bench by the window and sat down hard. The pages said Ethan had filed for divorce. They said there were temporary orders. The words were simple, but they hit like stones. They said Ethan had temporary exclusive use of the marital home, so Maya could stay in one place. They said I would not enter the home except for scheduled times to get personal items, and only with notice. They said we would use a co-parenting app for messages about Maya. They said exchanges would happen at set times and set places. They said neither of us could drain accounts or take on new shared debt. They said Maya could not be taken across the border without written consent. I stared at that line about the border. My throat went dry. I thought of the customs booth, the parking garage, the motel receipt, the way I told myself it did not count. It counted. It counted in ink. I wanted to call Ethan right away. I wanted to yell, to cry, to bargain. Then I remembered how he had looked in the driveway. Calm. Still. Like a man who already decided he would not drown with me. Noah sat across from me and asked if this would affect my schedule. I said no. I said it like a lie you repeat until it feels true. HR said we needed to talk about personal legal matters happening at the workplace and how it could impact safety and privacy. I said my husband was trying to embarrass me. HR said the service was lawful and public, and we would handle it by policy. Marisol texted me from 5 feet away. She asked what happened. I looked at her and did not answer. Her face changed. She did not look excited anymore. She looked scared that she had been on the wrong side of a story. My phone buzzed. It was Danny. She asked why she was getting messages from people asking if I was in trouble. I told her Ethan was attacking me. She told me to go online and tell my side fast. I imagined doing that, and I saw comments turning into screenshots, and screenshots turning into exhibits. For the first time, the idea of posting felt dangerous. Through the lobby glass, I could see the public plaza outside. People crossed in lines, coats and bags moving like a steady river. Then I saw Ethan on the far side. near the edge of the plaza. He was not close enough to speak. He was not holding a camera. He was not pointing at me. He just stood there with his hands at his sides, looking toward the building like he was making sure the papers landed. I stood up with the envelope pressed to my chest. My legs felt strange, like they did not belong to me. I walked closer to the glass, and he saw me. He did not wave. He did not smirk. He nodded once, small and final, then turned and walked away.